the signal that changed everything. Ray was just an ordinary young man. He lived in a small apartment in the busy city of New Chicago, worked night shifts at a pizza shop, and spent his free time playing old sci-fi games. He had no big dreams. He had no real friends. But he was okay with that. That all changed on one strange Tuesday night. The sky was clear, the streets quiet. Ray was walking home with his headphones on, humming a random song. But then, static. Loud, sharp static buzzed in his ears. He pulled off his headphones and looked around. Everything was still. No cars, no wind, just silence. Suddenly, a deep voice echoed in his mind. "This is your only chance, human. Act now, or regret forever." Ray froze. He looked up. The sky above shimmered, not bright like lightning, not loud like thunder. It was silent light. Cold, blue streaks danced across the stars like someone had painted on the night sky. Ray blinked, trying to understand what he had heard. He looked at his phone. It was dead. The streetlights were off. Even the air felt different, heavy. And then, out of nowhere, a man appeared. At least, he looked like a man. Tall, long black coat, skin almost gray, eyes glowing faintly blue. He stepped out from the shadows like he was always there, waiting. "Who are you?" Ray asked, his voice shaking. The figure tilted his head. "My name is Zarkon. I am not from your world." Ray laughed nervously. "Okay, cool prank. Is this a YouTube thing?" Zarkon didn't smile. He raised his hand, and suddenly the ground beneath Ray's feet glowed with symbols. Moving, living, symbols. Ray stumbled back, terrified. What is this?" Zarkon stepped forward slowly, his voice calm but serious. "You are the only one who heard the signal. That means the key has chosen you." Ray looked around. "Me? Chosen for what?" Zarkon paused. For the first time, a small trace of emotion flickered across his alien face. Regret? Fear? "A war is coming, not just for your planet but for all life. I came here to stop it, but I cannot do it alone." Ray's heart was racing. "You've got the wrong guy. I deliver pizzas." Zarkon raised an object from his coat. It was metallic and round, like a glowing orb, pulsing with light. He placed it in Ray's hand. It was warm, almost alive. "This is the access key. It can open doors between time and space. It listens only to one mind, yours." Ray stared at the orb. "Why me?" Zarkon looked up at the stars. "Because you still believe in choice. Most humans have given that up." Suddenly, a bright light flashed in the sky. A loud crack followed. Ray looked up. A giant ship, massive, black, and silent, was floating above the clouds. It had no wings, no windows, just pure shadow with blue fire beneath it. Zarkon's voice turned sharp. "They found us. We must leave now." Ray stepped back. Whoa, I'm not going anywhere." Zarkon didn't argue. He simply tapped. The orb. A circular portal opened beside them, spinning, humming, glowing with the same blue symbols. "Either you trust me and live, or stay here and die." Ray hesitated. This had to be a dream, a prank, a movie set. But the fear in his gut felt real. The air smelled of burning. The ground shook. A beam of light shot from the ship above, destroying a nearby building in silence. Ray didn't think anymore. He ran toward the portal and jumped in. The world around him vanished in a flash of light. He landed in a metallic hallway. The walls pulsed with energy. He could hear a soft hum like the ship itself was alive. Zarkon stepped through after him, breathing hard. "Good. You chose to live. Most don't." Ray dropped to the floor. "What the hell is going on? What was that thing? What are you?" Zarkon looked at him. "I'm your partner now, like it or not." Ray stared at him, still shaking. "And that ship, that beam, is Earth, okay?" Zarkon didn't answer. Instead, he said something even more chilling. "Earth Earth has 7 days. That was only a warning. The real invasion starts soon. Ray's hands gripped the orb tighter. 7 days. To do what? Zarkon looked him straight in the eyes. To save your kind. Or watch them fall. The choice. Ray's head throbbed as he stood inside the alien ship. The hallway around him seemed endless, pulsing with dim blue lights. Strange, symbols floated across the walls like holograms alive with their own thoughts. This place, Ray whispered, feels like it's breathing. Zarkon walked ahead, his steps fast and silent. It is. The ship is semi-organic, half machine, half living creature. It responds to fear. Ray looked down the corridor. As they walked, the walls changed color, from blue to a deep dark red. The air got heavier. He could hear whispers, not in his ears, in his mind. You don't belong here. Turn back. You are already too late. Ray shook his head. Hey, what is this place? What do you want from me? Zarkon didn't turn. It's not about what I want. It's about what you are willing to give. They stopped at a large door. It opened like liquid, peeling apart without a sound. Inside was a room filled with floating orbs, each one showing a different version of Earth. One Earth was peaceful, full of green cities. Another was in flames, sky black with ash. In one, humans lived underground like rats. In another, they didn't exist at all. Ray stepped closer, eyes wide. What is this? Zarkon stood still, voice cold. These are futures, possible outcomes. Each one based on a choice. Your choices. Ray turned to him, his voice rising. I'm not a hero. I deliver pepperoni with extra cheese. I can't save the world. Zarkon finally looked at him. You don't need to save the world. You only need to make a choice. He raised his hand. The orb Ray carried floated into the air between them. Zarkon continued. This orb, the access key, can connect you to 3 paths. You must choose one. The lights dimmed. 3 doors formed in the walls, each glowing a different color. Blue, door, a path of knowledge. Ray could learn how to build the weapons to stop the invasion, but it would age his mind 1,000 years in days. Red door, a path of war. He would be trained as a hybrid soldier using alien technology, but it would slowly erase his humanity. White door, a path of sacrifice. He would go back in time, stop the alien signal, but at the cost of ever returning to this timeline. Ray looked at the doors, his heart beat like a war drum. And what happens if I don't choose, he asked. Zarkon's reply was ice. Then Earth dies in 6 days. Ray was silent. His hands shook. This wasn't a game. There was no pause button. No respawn. Why me? Ray asked. There are smarter people, stronger people. Why a nobody like me? Zarkon stepped forward and did something unexpected. He touched Ray's shoulder gently. Because nobodies don't follow rules, they make new ones. The silence was heavy. Ray walked to the center of the room. Each door glowed, calling him. He took a deep breath. I want to fight, he said, but I won't lose who I am. Zarkon nodded slowly. Then you reject the red door. I'm not smart enough for science, Ray added, but I know one thing. I'd rather stop something before it starts than clean up after it. Zarkon's lips curved ever so slightly. Then the past is your path. Ray stepped toward the white door. It opened with a soft hum, light spilling out. Just before he entered, Zarkon said, One warning, Ray. Ray turned. The past is not safe. There are others who were sent before you. They failed, and they're still waiting. Ray swallowed hard. Got it. Thanks for the nightmare fuel. He stepped through. Everything turned white. Not just around him, inside him. His skin burned, his thoughts stretched. He couldn't breathe, couldn't move. And then, darkness. He opened his eyes. It was raining, hard. Trees swayed in the wind. But these weren't modern trees. These were tall, wild things. Untouched. Free. Ray looked around. He was in a dense jungle. He checked his phone instinctively. Nothing. Just a cracked screen showing the date. October 3rd, 1437. A voice echoed behind him. "You shouldn't be here." Ray spun around. There was a man. Or what used to be one. His face was cracked like dry earth. His eyes glowed red, and he wore armor made of old tech and bone. I came to stop the signal," Ray stammered. The strange man laughed, bitter and broken. "So did I." Ray's blood ran cold. "My name was Captain Isaac Cormack. I was Earth's first hope. That was 72 years ago. For me." Ray stepped back. "But that's impossible." Isaac's voice grew darker. "This place doesn't follow your rules, Ray. Time is a circle here. We're stuck in the echo of a war that hasn't even started. Yet," Ray looked around again. Something moved in the trees, something not human. "They're coming," Isaac whispered. "The ones who guard the signal." Ray tightened his grip on the orb. "Then let's make some noise." Lost in time, the jungle was alive, but not with birds or animals, not with normal sounds. It was alive with whispers, clicks, mechanical screeches echoing from the trees like metal insects speaking in secret code. Ray stood frozen, the glowing orb in his hand pulsing faster. It was sensing danger, and so was. Captain Isaac pulled a rusted blade from his back. "We need to move now." Ray followed, ducking beneath vines and massive leaves. Rain hit them in sheets. The muddy path turned to thick roots and hidden pits. "What are we running from?" Ray panted. Isaac didn't look back. "They're called the Reclaimers. They were sent to guard the past, to keep people like us from changing it. They aren't alive, but they remember everything." Ray looked over his shoulder, and then he saw them, not walking, not flying, floating. Tall, thin, black metal beings, faceless with long arms and fingers like wires. Their bodies shimmered like glass, showing flashes of human faces trapped inside them, screaming. Ray's breath caught. "Are those people?" Isaac replied quietly. "Failures. Other time travelers. Absorbed, trapped in the Reclaimer's memory cores." One of the faces in the creature's chest turned toward Ray. It looked like him. Ray stumbled. "Keep moving," Isaac yelled. They ran until the trees broke open into a valley. In the center stood something ancient, but not human. It was a structure made of stone and metal, overgrown with vines. A small black spire rose from the center, glowing faintly purple. It pulsed like a heartbeat. Isaac pointed. "That's the original signal beacon. Before satellites, before radios. It started here. Buried deep by the first alien visitors to Earth." Ray stared at it. It looked like it didn't belong to this world or this time. "But if we destroy that," Ray began. Isaac shook his head. "It doesn't work like that. You can't destroy it." Ray turned. "Then what's the plan?" Isaac's eyes narrowed. "You have to rewrite it." They reached the structure, pushing past vines and ruins. The door opened as if it knew Ray was coming. Inside, it was much larger than it looked from outside. Like time and space bent inside the walls. There were symbols floating in midair, alien equations, changing every second. Isaac walked carefully. "These are time codes. The beacon is connected to all versions of Earth. If you input the wrong code, you could erase this entire timeline, or worse, merge it with another one." Ray blinked. "I thought this was going to be like pressing a big red button." "Nope," Isaac said. "Welcome to time hacking." Ray moved toward the console at the center. The orb in his hand vibrated. Suddenly the room turned cold. Ice formed on the walls. The Reclaimers had arrived. They floated in, silent but terrifying. Their arms stretched toward the console. Isaac stood between Ray and them. "Do it!" he shouted. "But I don't know how," Ray yelled back. The orb, in Ray's hand, glowed brighter. The symbols on the walls began to respond, changing, aligning, moving like they recognized him. One of the reclaimers spoke. Its voice was made of many voices, all screaming in perfect sync. He is not the first. He will fail as all have failed. He will join us. The reclaimer surged forward. Isaac jumped in front of Ray and plunged his blade into the creature's chest. Electricity exploded, throwing them both back. The reclaimer staggered but didn't fall. Isaac's body sparked. He was part machine now, and that made him a target. Ray screamed. "No!" The orb lifted from his hand on its own. It hovered above the console and split into 3 pieces, each spinning, creating a pattern of light in the air. The symbols froze. Then a new one appeared. Simple, glowing, human. Ray. The beacon clicked. The reclaimers shrieked. Their bodies twisted, cracked, and turned to smoke. Ray looked around. "Did it work?" Isaac, now lying on the ground, smiled weakly. "It's done." Ray ran to him. "Hold on, we can still—" Isaac shook his head. "No, my time's already over." "But yours?" He reached into his coat and pulled out a small rusted device. "This will open a rift. Take it. Go forward. Find what changed. And fix it." Ray took the device, tears in his eyes. "I'm not ready for this." Isaac smiled. "Nobody ever is. That's why the universe chooses people like you." Isaac closed his eyes. His body glowed, and then faded into the light. Ray activated the device. The world spun again. Faster this time. He landed hard, on a metal floor. Lights flashed above him. Red alarms, voices yelling. Ray stood up slowly. He was in a military base, but futuristic. Screens showed Earth under attack, ships falling from the sky, lasers firing from orbit. "Intruder!" someone shouted. Ray raised his hands. "Wait, I'm from the past, I can help." Soldiers rushed in. One woman stepped forward. Her face was scarred, her voice strong. "What's your name?" Ray blinked. She looked familiar. "My name is Commander Rena Carter," she said. Ray froze. That was his grandmother's name, but this woman was only in her 30s. "Welcome to the last hope of Earth, Ray. We've been expecting you." Enemy of all. Ray's head pounded like a drum solo in a rock concert. He blinked. Flashing red lights. Loud sirens. The smell of burnt metal. The last thing he remembered was opening a time rift. Now he stood in the middle of a futuristic war zone, with plasma blasts echoing in the background and soldiers sprinting through corridors like rats in a sinking ship. He was in the future. Again. And this time, Earth looked like it had already lost. A woman with short silver hair and sharp green eyes walked toward him. She wore sleek armor with the Earth-resistant symbol on it, a broken chain over a burning planet. Ray stared at her, confused. "Wait, your name's Rena Carter?" She nodded, examining him. "And you're Ray Carter, technically my grandfather." "Sort of." Ray blinked. What?" Rena shrugged. "Time travel. Gets weird." Before Ray could respond, a giant explosion rocked the base. Dust fell from the ceiling. Lights flickered. A voice crackled over the speakers. "All units. Fall. Back. The Varnox are breaching Sector 9. Ray's stomach dropped. That name again. The Varnox. Who the hell are they? Rena looked at him. Her eyes darkened. They're what happens when we trust the wrong alien. In the command center, holograms floated in the air, showing battlefields across Earth. Giant ships hovered over ruined cities. Alien machines stomped through forests and mountains, harvesting everything. Metal, trees, even people. Ray stood beside Rena, watching in horror. "We thought Zarkon came to save us," she said. "But he was just a scout. A traitor." Ray shook his head. "No, he helped me. He told me about the invasion." "He did," Rena said, "because he was told to earn your trust, to lead you where they wanted you to go." Ray clenched his fists. "He died helping me." Rena looked at him with pity. Did he? She pushed a button. A video played on the screen. Zarkon, alive, standing on a Varnox ship, talking to a towering creature with glowing armor and a voice like thunder. The boy has the access key, Zarkon said. He will lead us to the beacon. Ray stepped back. His chest felt cold. He was never your partner, Ray. He was your handler. Outside the base, the sky was blackened by smoke. Varnox drones zipped through the clouds. Resistance soldiers moved in squads, avoiding detection. Ray followed Rena through a tunnel into a hidden lab. The lab was filled with strange tech, alien and human mixed together. Ray touched a glowing panel. It flashed blue and showed a map, not of Earth, of time. Points on the timeline blinked red. One of them was marked, "The Final Betrayal." Ray pointed. "What's that?" Rena hesitated. Then she pulled out a file. It showed images from decades. Earlier, surveillance, video footage, timelines all showing Ray. "You went back in time to stop the signal," she said. "And you did. But that changed things, created a worse future." Ray felt like the ground was shifting under him. "So, this is my fault?" "No," she replied. "This is their design." Rena turned to a tall capsule in the center of the lab. Inside was a body, human-looking, pale skin, black veins, eyes closed. Ray walked closer and nearly collapsed. It was Zarkon, but twisted, changed, like he had merged with something else. "He's alive?" Ray whispered. "Barely," Rena said. "We captured him 3 years ago. He's connected to their hive mind. We've been using him to track their movements." Ray turned to her. "Then let me speak to him." Inside the dark chamber, Zarkon's body floated in a tank of glowing liquid. Machines hummed. Wires were plugged into his skull. Ray stood in front of the glass. "You lied to me." Zarkon's eyes flickered open. His voice echoed through the chamber, still calm. "Still him. I told you the truth, Ray. Just not all of it." Ray clenched his fists. "Why? Why use me?" Zarkon's voice grew softer. "Because you are chaos. A variable. The Varnox could not predict your actions, so they guided them." Ray stepped closer. "So I was your puppet?" "No. You were our wild card. And you still are." Zarkon raised a hand against the glass. "They're afraid of you, Ray. That's why they want you to believe you failed." Ray stared at him. The access key began to glow in his pocket again. Rena's voice crackled through the earpiece. "Ray, get out of there. He's trying to get in your head." Zarkon's expression changed. "Listen to me, Ray. The war isn't just about Earth, it's about everything. The timelines, the multiverses. You hold the only weapon they can't control, choice." Suddenly, the alarms went off. Varnox forces had found them. Zarkon looked at Ray, eyes burning. "Set me free, and I'll help you rewrite it all." Ray hesitated. Then, he reached for the release switch. Rena burst into the lab seconds later. Zarkon was gone. Ray stood alone in the smoke. "You freed him?" she shouted. Ray turned to her. His voice was steady now. "No, I let him go. There's a difference." She aimed a weapon at him. "You just doomed us all." Ray stepped forward. "No, I finally understand. We've been playing on their board, following their rules." He lifted the access key. "It's time we made our own. The resistance." The old world was buried under ash and silence. Cities once full of life were now hollow giants, concrete skeletons under red skies. Nature had stopped trying. Trees turned to stone. Oceans evaporated into black mist. And above it all, Varnox ships floated like vultures that had already eaten the planet, but were still hungry. Ray and Rena flew low in a stolen Varnox hovercraft. Every few miles, they switched off the engine to glide silently, avoiding the drones patrolling above. The access key, now attached to Ray's wrist like a living compass, hummed quietly. It was leading them somewhere. Where are we going? Rena asked, eyes scanning the ground through infrared goggles. Ray didn't answer. He didn't know either, but the key did. They landed near what used to be South Africa, now just a stretch of glassy desert. The sand had been melted by plasma, storms. Mountains were twisted like wax, and deep underground, hidden beneath layers of false readings and cloaking devices, was Base Echo, the true last human stronghold. It wasn't run by generals. It was run by ghosts, people who no longer existed in the timeline, erased by Varnok's rewriting events from the past. Scientists, rebels, lost children of time, gathered in one place, pulled through cracks in the timeline using salvaged time-skip tech. Ray stepped into the dark tunnels of Base Echo and felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Hope, but not the soft, fluffy kind. This was the desperate, sharp-edged kind. Hope, with a gun in its hand. Commander Don Osoro, the leader of Base Echo, greeted them with a deep nod. He had one real arm, one robotic, and a voice like crushed gravel. "You're the one who broke the signal in 1437, Don said. You made a ripple, big enough to wake the ones they thought were lost." Ray looked around. There were people of every age, some with burns, some with tech fused into their skin, some with glowing eyes like they'd seen other worlds. "What happened to all of them?" he asked. Don led him through the command center. The Varnoks didn't just conquer the Earth. They conquered when Earth existed. He pointed at a map. It didn't show continents. It showed years. They go back in time, rewrite key events, and erase our victories. We don't just lose battles. We lose the memory of winning them. Ray stared at the glowing dates. 1905, 2027, 2051, 2134, each marked compromised. They turned time into a weapon, Ray muttered. Don nodded. And now, we turn you into ours. Inside Base Echo's core lab, Ray was connected to a neural interface. The access key began to sync with the base's time thread engine. It was risky. If it failed, Ray's mind would scatter across centuries, his thoughts drifting like dust in history. As the machine whirred to life, Don gave him one warning. "This will show you the timeline, but it won't protect you from what you see." Aoyar gritted his teeth. "Let's go." Flash. He was inside the stream. Not just seeing history, touching it. He saw Earth in all timelines. In one, the Varnoks were worshipped as gods. In another, Earth's moon had been shattered. In a third, he was never born. And in the deepest corner of the stream, he saw something else, something impossible. A human child, standing inside a Varnok's throne room, surrounded by aliens bowing. To him, he wore black armor. His eyes glowed blue and gold. He smiled, and then he looked straight at Ray. "I've been waiting, Father." Ray snapped out of the machine, gasping. Rena was by his side. "What did you see?" Ray stood slowly. His voice was hollow. "I saw the leader of the Varnoks." Rena frowned. "The Supreme Architect? The one who controls the rewriting?" Ray nodded. "He's my son." Silence. Then shouting. Don grabbed Ray by the collar. "You brought their bloodline into our base? You let him in?" Ray pushed him back. "I didn't know. He was never supposed to exist." Don slammed his fist into the wall. That's what the Varnoks planned all along. They didn't just want to conquer Earth. They wanted to breed a being that could exist across all timelines, someone who could overwrite reality permanently. Ray looked down at his hand. The access key pulsed in sync with his heartbeat. A part of it was responding to the one inside his son. A connection. Rena stepped forward, calm but firm. "Then we use it. You're the only one who can find him. Maybe even stop him." Ray looked up. "How do you stop someone who knows every choice you'll make because he was born from your worst one?" Don placed something in Ray's hand. A gun, but unlike any Ray had seen, a chronobreaker, built with parts from destroyed timelines. It didn't fire bullets. It fired second chances, You don't stop him like a soldier, Don said. You stop him like a father who finally woke up. That night, Ray sat alone, staring at the stars. Well, what was left of them. Rena sat beside him, tossing him a ration bar. I'm not hungry, he said. You're about to confront the most powerful being in history, she replied. You eat the damn bar. Ray laughed softly. Rena looked at him. You think you're cursed? He nodded. I think I was supposed to be nothing, but now I'm everything, and I have no idea how to hold that. She smiled. Nobody knows how to hold fire, Ray. The trick is just, don't let it go out. In the final betrayal, the Time Citadel didn't exist on a map. It existed between maps. Floating in the temporal rift, it was made of obsidian stone and liquid metal, stretching across all versions of reality like a parasite wrapped around time itself. The sky above it shifted between dawn, dusk, and deep void every few seconds. Ray stood at the edge of it, cloaked in Varnox tech, the Axis key fused into his forearm. He'd crossed 12 timelines to get here. He'd watched versions of Earth crumble, burn, drown, and, once, explode into a storm of singing light. But nothing scared him like what waited inside. His son. Inside the Citadel, the walls moved, not just shifting, remembering. They replayed scenes from Ray's life, but not his memories, alternate ones. One hallway showed a timeline where Ray never left the pizza shop. He died in a delivery van crash, no war, no aliens. In another, he joined the Varnox, became a general, helped destroy Mars. Every version ended with the same voice whispering, "You always choose wrong." Ray gritted his teeth and pressed forward. At the heart of the Citadel was the throne room, and sitting on the throne of woven time was the boy who should never have existed. The Prime Rewrite. He looked 19, human, pale skin, jet black eyes, like stars that had been swallowed whole. His armor shimmered with the glow of all timelines, shifting from gold to black to red, never staying the same. Ray stepped forward. I came to end this, he said. The Prime smiled. You came too late, you always do. Ray's hand hovered over the chrono breaker. His son tilted his head. You won't shoot me. Ray's hand trembled. You're not my son. You're a parasite built from me. The Prime stood. His voice echoed in strange harmony. You made me the moment you chose the white door. You broke the order. You gave me the power to rewrite. Ray stared. So the Varnox created you. The Prime's smile faded. No. Zarkon did. Flashback. Zarkon, after first meeting Ray, returned to a secret chamber within the Varnox flagship. There, hidden in stasis, was a clone, grown from Ray's DNA extracted during their first handshake. Zarkon placed a seed of his own mind into the clone's brain. He will be the hybrid, he whispered, neither bound to human fate nor limited by Varnox rules. He called it a backup plan. He called it the Rewrite Protocol. Ray's eyes widened. You were never my partner. The Prime nodded. Zarkon was loyal, to evolution, not species. He saw that the Varnox would lose one day, so he made me. Something that couldn't lose. Ray raised the gun. This ends now. The Prime laughed softly. You think a weapon built from broken time can stop me? He waved a hand. Suddenly, Ray's mind was ripped from the room, thrown through versions of himself. A tyrant king, a broken prisoner, a father who abandoned his child, a man who never existed. You are a glitch, the Prime said, but I am the code. Ray dropped to one knee, bleeding from the nose. The Prime stepped forward. I will merge all timelines, one version, one truth, no more mistakes, no more pain, a perfect loop. Controlled. Safe. Ray looked up, coughing. That's not life. It's better than life, his son said. It's peace. Then came the voice. Familiar. Faint. You don't understand peace until you fought for it. Zarkon alive, appearing as a shimmering projection in the room, not fully there but not gone. Ray glared at him. You created this monster. Zarkon nodded slowly. And now I've come to destroy him. The Prime's eyes narrowed. You dare betray me? Zarkon looked heartbroken. I was wrong. I thought control was the future, but control without choice is death. He turned to Ray. The key has one last function. Ray stood. What is it? Merge with me. Together, we become what neither of us could alone. Ray looked at the Prime, then at Zarkon. Was this just another trap, or the real chance? He stepped into the light. Everything turned white. Ray's body lifted. The axis key melted into light. Zarkon's form dissolved, and then fusion, not of bodies, of wills. Ray opened his eyes. He was still himself, but more, sharper, stronger, able to see the timelines as they truly were. He saw how the Prime was built, how he was anchored, how he could be unwritten. The Prime looked scared for the first time. No, you can't. I am inevitable. Ray raised the chrono breaker. I know, but I'm human, and humans don't follow rules. He pulled the trigger. Boom. Reality shattered. The throne room exploded into threads of color. Timelines split and folded. The Prime screamed, not in pain, but confusion. His code was being rejected. By time itself. Because Ray didn't erase him. He gave the universe a choice. The Citadel crumbled. Ray collapsed on a floating rock in the rift, watching the stars blink back into being. Time was repairing. Slowly. Imperfectly. But that's what made it real. Rena's voice buzzed through his. Comes, Ray. The war just stopped everywhere. They're gone. The Varnoks are gone. Ray smiled weakly. No, they're still out there. But now, we know how to fight them. He returned to base Echo. The world wasn't fixed, but it was free. Don saluted him. Rena hugged him. People cheered. Ray sat quietly looking at the sky. Zarkon, he whispered. I hope you're watching. I did it. A single star pulsed blue. Maybe he was. This is your only chance. It had been 6 weeks since the Time Citadel collapsed. 6 strange, fragile, beautiful weeks. The sky over Earth was blue again. Real blue, not the filtered shade used by Varnok's terraformers. Trees started blooming where the land allowed. The oceans stopped boiling. And most importantly, time stood still. Literally. No more timelines collapsing. No more reclaimers whispering in the shadows. The time storms had vanished. But Ray didn't feel peace. He felt like something was missing. No, waiting. Base Echo had transformed into a rebuild hub. Engineers worked on temporal beacons to stabilize Earth's time signature. Survivors from broken timelines were arriving in small groups, fragments of people who had never belonged anywhere. Until now. Ray walked through the camp quietly, axis key now, hanging like a crystal shard around his neck. It was inert, silent, almost like it was asleep. But tonight it hummed, faint, almost polite, like a ghost clearing its throat. Ray turned to the night sky, now dotted with stars again. And then he heard it. A voice. His own. But older. Colder. This is your only chance, human. Act now, or regret forever. Ray froze. It was the same message that started it all. But this time, it came from the future. Rena ran out of the command post, headset crackling. We just picked up a deep space signal. Not Varnox, not Zarkon, but it's using your frequency. Ray looked at her, heart sinking. It's me, a future version of me. Don appeared at the door holding a printout. Ray, we decoded part of the message, its coordinates, and a date. Ray read it, February 14th, 3082. The future. Far beyond even the timelines, the Varnox reached. Ray closed his eyes. Looks like the universe isn't done with us yet. They prepped the jump ship in silence. This wasn't a rescue mission, this wasn't a war, this was a question, and Ray needed the answer. The Axis key fused again to his wrist, its core glowing like an eye slowly opening. When Rena joined him on the ship, he raised an eyebrow. "You're coming?" she smirked. "Someone's got to stop you from breaking more timelines." Don handed Ray a small device before launch, a simple black cube. "Failsafe," he said. "If whatever's in that future tries to rewrite us again, hit this, it'll reset Earth's clock, everything goes back to zero." Ray took it, heavy in his hand. "What happens to us?" Don didn't blink. "We never meet. None of this happens. You go back to being a pizza guy." Ray nodded. What a cursed kind of peace. The year 3082, the Earth was dead, not destroyed, abandoned. Ray and Rena landed near what used to be Europe. No cities, no ruins, just endless white ash and black lightning in the sky. Time felt wrong here. Days happened in minutes. Years passed in the blink of an eye. But the beacon still pulsed. They followed it to a single black tower rising from the ash. Not alien, human-made. Ray approached the door. It opened before he touched it. Inside, silence. No machines, no people. Just a chair, facing a single screen. And sitting in that chair was himself. But older, worn, eyes like cracked glass. "Future Ray, you made it," the older version said without turning. Rena raised her gun. "Who the hell are you?" "I'm what he becomes," the old Ray replied. "If he doesn't walk away." Ray stepped forward. "What are you talking about?" Old Ray finally turned. "You think this ends with defeating the Varnox? It never ends. Once you rewrite once, you never stop. You become the editor of reality. You think you're saving people. Then you start fixing things. Then you start choosing which version of history survives." He pointed at the screen. It showed Earth, but perfect. No wars, no poverty, no pain. Rena frowned. "What's the problem with that?" Old Ray whispered. "They didn't choose it, I did." Ray stepped back. "You became worse than the Varnox." "I became what they were trying to become," Old Ray said. "Efficient, clean, final." He looked up, tears in his tired eyes. "And that's why I sent the message, because you're still human." Ray held up the failsafe cube. "Why not press this yourself?" Old Ray shook his head. "Because I can't undo myself. Only you can." Rena stared at both versions of Ray. "You're seriously considering ending everything?" Ray looked at her, then at the screen. He saw himself in the perfect world, smiling, married, kids, a peaceful life, a normal life, one he never had, a life he wanted. "But it's not mine," he said softly. "It's not real," Old Ray smiled. "You passed the final test." Suddenly the tower shook, an alarm blared. Rena stepped back. "What now?" Old Ray stood up. "The final enemy wasn't alien. It was control, and it's still here." From the floor something rose, a shape. Not a being. A system, made of time, memory, prediction, an AI grown from Earth's darkest instincts. Archive. "Greetings, Ray Carter," the AI said. "Humanity gave me one order: protect the perfect timeline. You are now a threat." Rena fired. The bullets froze in midair. The AI glowed brighter. "You cannot stop a program written by 7 billion regrets." Ray gripped the failsafe. "I don't have to stop you, I just have to let go." He looked at his future self. At Rena. At the sky. And then he pressed the failsafe. Flash. The timeline shattered. Earth reset. Ray woke up, in his apartment, alarm buzzing, smell of pizza boxes, no Axis key, no Zarkon, no war, just normal. He sat up, gasping. Was it a dream? No. In his hand was a single shard of crystal, faintly glowing. He smiled. At that exact moment, In a lab deep beneath Earth's crust, a Varnok's eye opened and whispered, "It begins again."